Welcome back to the workshop of Wood Spun Round. This is Doug. I'm glad to have you with me again. I've got a little piece of a limb here, just a little piece that fell off of a tree in my yard. Some of that fogwood that seem to turn an awful lot of. And I mentioned on Facebook, and you may or may not have seen it. One of the things I'm going to do for 2022 is I'm watching videos of other turners. Sometimes they have issues, sometimes they have questions. If it is a pre-recorded video, it's hard to explain it in a way so that they can make the changes there and do whatever or try something new. So I'm going to make this series of videos when I see things that I think maybe I have an answer for, a question that I have an answer for, an issue that I think I might have an answer for. I'm going to share these things on video. I'm not going to call them out. I'm not going to call anybody out. And if you have a question, feel free to send me a message, whether it's in comments on one of my videos or you get in touch with me through Instagram or Facebook. Either way, you can send me a direct message and I will be glad to answer those, or even do a video for you so that you can see my thoughts on what I think. Anyway, I'm still learning. I've said that from the very beginning. I'm still learning. I've turned for a number of years, but I am still learning. So yesterday I watched a video, a friend of mine out in the western part of the United States who it was turning a bird's mouth bowl and not a bird's mouth bowl, but a live edge. Turned out to be half live edge, half natural edge. He actually took the bark off of the top, and I'll come to that here in a minute. But anyway, I'm gonna do this little small live edge. It'll be very small. It's a very small piece of wood. This is 4 3/4 long and 2 2 1/4 ish in diameter. So it's going to be a very small bowl, but hopefully it'll turn quickly. It's a little punky, a little soft. So we'll see how this does. I'm starting off with a bowl gouge, turning at, I'm at 19, well, the indicator says 1980 RPMs. I checked on several videos back, and when I turn it down to what it says is 50, it's turning a whole lot slower than that. So I will be changing belts here before too long. It'll get us closer to real. So, but I'm not far off of right. Probably closer to 1900 RPMs. Well, there we go. Working on getting sections large enough to be a tenon. I think I'm right now at it. Yeah, I think we can. If I get a pencil. Oh yeah. Good shape for the shape we're in. Okay, let's get a tenon and then we'll work on the sides a bit. To get a ever so slight dovetail on that. Now let's round this up. Let me turn this off so I can point it out. I'm going to round it up. I want my curve to come up in a convex, normal kind of a bowl shape, but then toward the top I want it to come back out. I want to have kind of a natural wing out here, but I want it to conclude with my bark. All right, gonna have to make a change here. My drive center, or excuse me, my live center, this big cone, is wedging. It's acting as a wedge right there, and it's actually split part of my little tenon off. So I want to take that out. There we go. It's one of the advantages of this type. And I'm going to have to step down here to my sanding disc, my big sanding disc, and sand that off. I'll be right back. All right, we have sanded that off. It didn't take but a second because that wood is very soft. So anyway, let's continue shaping this outside. Almost. I hope I haven't torn anything out. Got a little tear out right there. I'm going to have that little bit. But I think I've got a way to fix that even so it could still be, at least give the illusion. All right. I think we're good. Let's get this turned around. I'll bring you back in just a minute when I've got it in the chuck. All right, we're back, and as you can see, I've got the original Novichok on the lathe. My piece is turned around. My gap here is very close, which is good. That tells me that I've got about as strong a grip on that piece of wood as I can possibly get. Spins freely, so it's not locked any longer. I'll change the angle of my tool rest. Let's give it a couple of spins and make sure it's clear. We'll be moving it a couple of times real quick here because I'm going to take some of this out and get us closer. As you can see, this has got some lichen on, growing on here, or grew on here. It's quite dry now. It's quite dead. I am not concerned about it at all. Back to my 1/2-inch bowl gouge. Just a touch low for hollowing. Need to take a quick look. As you can see, I'm going into the bark. If I were to start in the center and pull my way out, it would probably pull this bark off or stand a better chance. And that's exactly what happened here. Some of that bark did pop off. This is where I came up on the outside. What I should have done about halfway up was stop and work my way down from the top edge, which would have been against the grain. However, with live edge, a lot of times you want to go against the grain on that top simply because, or at least on the outside, you want to, because you want to give that bark every chance it can to stay on. If you're going to do a natural edge, which is the natural shape of the wood, but you don't have the bark on there, you don't worry about the bark. You know, if it's already really loose and you just want to go and take it off anyway, because it's not going to stay. That's one thing. This particular one, I really thought the bark would stay. If I remember right, this limb, well, I'm not remembering correctly. I was thinking this was one that came off the tree here just recently. It did not. This one's been off a while. Okay, how did that come off of there? Like that. Trying to decide what's the best direction to put this. I'm going to try to save this, but then I may end up turning around and knocking as much of it off. Well, it's not going to stay anyway. Okay, so never mind. I will either, yeah, it's not very tight for the most part. Yeah, piece came off there. So, yeah, that's coming off so easy. It's probably all gonna chip off. And what doesn't chip off, what doesn't chip off while we're turning, I will take off before I start sanding. So, okay, put that away. That's part of the issue is learning how to solve your issues that you come up with. Oh, I was going to look too to see where am I as far as the thickness of my walls. I still need to take off just a little bit more. It's still a little thick as far as I'm concerned. kind of like boxes. You have to start and stop a lot when you're doing a natural or a live edge. Now this side is fairly thin. You can see there it's fairly thin. This side's a little thicker, which means I wasn't centered, and I did not measure it whatsoever. So I think I'm gonna let that be right where it is, and we're gonna work our way on down the bowl. Someone did ask, don't remember quite who it was at the moment, but anyway, someone did ask, how can you see when that's spinning around? How can you see that edge? It's tough. I can't see the edge, but what I can see is this outside profile. And so when I'm going down on the inside, I'm watching on the outside, and I'm trying to get my tool to run as parallel as possible to that outside, to this outside surface. That way I know where I am as far as the thickness of these walls. As you can see, that's about 1/8 right there. This poor bark, the thinner it gets, the more it wants to let go. Yeah, that's okay. All right, let's take a little more out, then I can work down in the center. Tool rest is just a touch high. I'm going to reposition it more into the piece as well. Well, come on now. Want to stick. Wanting to stick. There we go. All right. Got some neat coloration going on in there. Some green streak going through the middle of this. Taking very light cuts here. Sorry you can't see that any better. It's one of the issues I have is with only having one camera. Now you can see it starts off pretty thin and it gets thicker toward the bottom. That means I need to go down further, take out a little more of that. Now let's see what we got. We should be pretty close. Looky there. Slightly thicker. Even there it is. I can do it that same pass one more time. Trying to see where, because I can't see that when it's turning. There we go. We're thin there like I want to be. Thin there. Excellent. All right, a little sanding up. There's the rest of that bark. I'm going to leave that little tip right there. I kind of like that. There we go. Real punky right there. It's going to take a little bit of sanding just to smooth that out. All right. I'll bring you back here in just a couple of minutes. The sanding process is pretty straightforward, except that you got these long wings. I'm going to sand at this high speed. Normally I'm a proponent of slowing the lathe down, but for these wing bowls like this, I'm going to keep the speed up to do a lot of the sanding. Some of it, like right in this area where I've got a little tear out on both sides, I'll end up having to do some hand sanding. You can feel down through there, feel if you've got lumps. I've got a couple of small lumps. There's one right there, but I'm too thin. I'm too thin to go back. You can see it's flexing there, and so anyway, I'll sand this and bring you back when I've got more of the finish on it. All right, we have sanded to 240. I'm not taking it too far. This is, like I told you before, this is pretty punky wood, pretty soft. I do have some chip out going on here just because it's thin, one, but also because it is so soft. But most of the tear out was taken out. There may still be some that'll show up here when we put some oil on it. This is Mahoney's walnut oil. Any kind of a drying oil will work well. Walnut oil is a natural product. It's a wood product. It's walnut from walnut trees, or walnuts, I guess. But it has been heated to a point where under special, very special equipment. It's pressure as well as heat. And that kills the proteins that most people are allergic to. Or not most people, but people who have nut allergies, those proteins have been destroyed, and then it goes through a filtering process that actually removes those dead proteins out of the oil. So it is a safe product. I was questioned on it quite strongly a year, maybe 2 years ago. Lady talking about her allergies, but also allergies of some children that she knows who have very, very bad nut allergies. And she was questioning it, and so I wasn't going to argue with her. If she commissioned me to do a piece and told me that her family had nut allergies, I would not use this product for her. I'd finish it a whole another way, which is fine. Or use a different oil. If she wanted an oil finish, use tung oil. Anyway, after that discussion, I sent an email to Mike Mahoney himself. And he said as far as he was concerned, he was not going to pay for the testing to call it food safe. He was I don't want to overstate his statements. Personally, he considered it food safe. He eats off of walnut oil quite frequently. And so here I am pulling this out of the camera so you can't see a thing. And what I will do after I get some oil on here so that it's not soaking in right now, it's just soaking straight into this wood. But I will come back, I'll reverse mount this on a jam chuck, and I'll clean this foot up, or this tenon up is what I'll do. I'll probably leave it on, probably make this ridge here, I'll probably curve it, make it blend into the tenon, and reduce the tenon just a little bit and clean it up and leave it on as a foot. So I'll go ahead and oil it and all of that, but knowing that it's really not finished as of yet. But I do want my center point to still be on there. But anyway, Mike said the only reason it's not labeled as food safe is because he cannot afford, doesn't want to afford the testing that it takes to get that food safe label put on it. But he didn't see any reason why. He didn't see a way. He didn't see how it could possibly cause an allergic reaction. I'll say it that way. So there it is. Turns out it's a natural edge bowl, not a live edge bowl, because all the bark did come off. What little bit didn't, I flaked off. There's a little bit of cambium right there. It's not bark, and I could probably scrape and dig at that and get it off. But I'll leave it. The oil will saturate that and cause it to be on there stronger. A little bit of chip out in the wood right there. In fact, there's a piece falling out. So this is a piece destined for the fire pile, I think. May just kind of let it sit around for a little while, see if it grows on me, as they often do. But I'll probably get rid of that.